Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. And as soon as we went off the stream yesterday, the wrestling world just exploded with tons of big, huge news stories coming out. And damn, there was a lot of fake news. There was a lot of news which was legitimate. Stephanie McMahon's gone. We're going to get into all of this today. But it's been a crazy 24 hours. And today I'm joined again by Clark. It's a two-man show once again. How are you, Clark?
Goodness gracious sakes alive, what a night in wrestling Twitter, wrestling media, wrestling social media, wrestling world, business world, across the board. What is going on? I'm happy to be here on a Wednesday. I was excited about this show anyway. And then we had the overnight storm. And I'm not talking about rain. I'm talking about what you were talking about. It's ridiculous. I'm going to Dynamite tonight. I feel like it's being overshadowed by all this stuff. It's hysterical. But I mean, once again, wrestling doesn't cease to stop. There's no off season, my friend, and that's what we're here for, right? And we'll break it down for everybody that wants to know.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just it's a crazy situation which we're currently witnessing in front of us, and it was, like you said, it's been a crazy 24 hours. This was meant to be a Dynamite preview show today, because you're going to Dynamite, like you said. But instead, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how much AEW you're going to fit in. I'm going to try and get something at the end.
Cover it like the last 5 minutes. We'll mention it a couple times.
Maybe we'll have to just do that. But there's just some news which is just broken about that too, so I'll get into that in a few minutes. But right now, to kick it off, like I always do with situations like this, I'm going to go through the situation factually, so we can break it down. We can see what's true and what's not true, and I'm going to go in chronological order. So basically, as soon as the stream ended yesterday, Stephanie McMahon posted a statement to all her social media platforms announcing her resignation from WWE. The statement read, "Dear WWE employees, about 8 months ago, I took a leave of absence and within a few weeks, unexpectedly had the opportunity of a lifetime. I had the privilege to return as the co-CEO and chairwoman of the board of WWE. I cannot put into words how proud I am to have led what I consider to be the greatest company in the world, working alongside a remarkable leadership team and one of the strongest executives I've known in my co-CEO, Nick Khan. Our founder, Vince McMahon, has returned as executive chair and is leading an exciting process regarding strategic alternatives." And like we mentioned the other day, strategic alternatives, hinting at a sale. And with Nick Khan's leadership and Paul Triple H as chief content officer, I'm confident WWE is in the perfect place to continue to provide unparalleled creative content and drive maximum value for shareholders. WWE is in such a strong position that I've decided to return to my leave and take it one step further with my official resignation from the company. I look forward to cheering on WWE from the other side of the business, where I started when I was a little kid, as a pure fan. I will always remain dedicated to WWE. I truly love our company, our superstars, our fans, and our employees. WWE is a success because of your hard work. You are the unsung heroes. No matter your position, your work contributes to our mission and makes a difference in people's lives. Thank you for your faith and trust. It has been an honor to work alongside you. Then, now, forever, together, Stephanie McMahon. Following this, literally minutes afterwards, WWE announces Vince McMahon as the executive chairman of the board of directors after the board unanimously voted for him to return to the role. It is still unclear whether or not Stephanie stepped down before or after the vote took place, with Dave Meltzer last night speculating that she did not want to be the deciding vote, and perhaps that was a reason why. And that's what Dave Meltzer speculated last night. WWE then released the following statement. WWE today announced that its board of directors unanimously elected Vince McMahon executive chairman of the board. Stephanie McMahon has resigned from her roles as chairwoman and co-CEO. Nick Khan will serve as sole WWE CEO. Vince McMahon then went off to put this in the statement. "First, I'd like to express my full support for Stephanie's personal decision. I'll forever be grateful that she offered to step in during my absence, and I'm truly proud of the job she did co-leading WWE. Stephanie has always been the ultimate ambassador for our company, and her decades of contributions have left an immeasurable impact on our brand. I'm proud to announce that Nick Khan will serve as WWE CEO. Nick's business acumen and mastery of the media industry have helped catapult our business to record revenue and profitability. Together, we look forward to working with the board at this critical moment in time to review our strategic alternatives and maximize value for all WWE shareholders. Nick Khan then went on to say this. Stephanie McMahon is a terrific executive and an even better person. It has been an honor to serve as co-CEO with her. She will only continue to succeed. I'm grateful to Vince McMahon and our board of directors for their ongoing support. I look forward to continuing to work with them closely and my WWE colleagues to ensure our company may thrive as the premier powerhouse in sports entertainment for years to come. Then, just a couple of hours after that came out, The Zone reported that WWE had been sold to Saudi Arabia's investment fund and the company was becoming private. Bodyslam.net then confirmed this and claimed that the deal had been completely completed, and reports stated that Vince McMahon would return to the company as head of creative per the request of Saudi Arabia's investment fund. Fightful Selecting revealed this morning that multiple talents would consider leaving the company if the sale went through. The WWE stock this morning opened at a decrease of just over 2%, despite the stock increasing in recent days due to reports of an upcoming sale. Now, it's unclear as to why what caused the drop this morning, whether it was Stephanie McMahon's resignation, Vince McMahon being reinstated as the executive director of the board of WWE, or the reported Saudi Arabia sale. Wrestling Republic
It could be a significant dip period, right? Or not significant. It could be a small dip period, right? It could be almost anything. Yeah. So
many
not to interrupt, but yeah, just it could be anything.
Yes. Wrestling Republic heard from one of our top sources this morning who informed us that the sale had not happened and could take quote-unquote months. The source also stated that while some wrestlers would consider leaving the company if they were sold to the Saudi Arabia investment fund, others had told them that they would be happy if it meant an increase in pay. The source also stated that WWE haven't decided on who their preferred buyer is at this time. John Albert, Ariel Helwani, and WrestleNomics then confirmed that WWE has not been sold to Saudi Arabia and no sale has been agreed. WWE have declined to comment on a possible sale to any media outlook since yesterday, which is quite noticeable as they have been noting other stuff since. But that is all we currently know, right? And Jacob in the comments saying crazy times. It absolutely is a crazy time in the industry right now. But yes, that's all we currently know. Those are the facts about the matter. But there is something that has come out in the last few minutes. Sorry. A class action lawsuit has been launched against Vince McMahon. A shareholder is suing McMahon in Delaware, accusing him of wielding his 81% voting control to impose his will on WWE illegally. Cites board changes, threats to interfere with media rights. So this is some huge news that coming out. Just breaking now that is a lawsuit which is going against Vince McMahon for returning to the company. But what are your thoughts on all of this, Clark?
I mean, what a wild 24 hours it's been. The whole thing is fascinating. It's one of those things. I think and I made this example to you earlier, this morning, and I said it feels a little bit right and I'm talking strictly fan excitement here, from what had happened over this last year, which has been a wild one. So here's the deal. I feel like it's one of those things where with Triple H taking over, Stephanie at the helm, who have pretty sterling reputations amongst the fan base, right? It feels a little bit like our new shiny toy got taken away and they gave us a bucket of Legos with no instructions. Yeah. And so the unknown's the scariest part. I think the future of wrestling is fine. It's professional wrestling is an entertainment form that has a hardcore fan base. And that's the deal. And I do think in the long run it'll be fine no matter who does buy it. But as you stated before, the sale isn't official. And we've talked about the list of potential suitors and buyers. I think the nuance in this story about the Vince's direction is interesting. You mentioned the potential lawsuit. I think that's where it just gets. And it's one of those situations that's so muddy, and it's in its infancy, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I think, and I hate to say this because it's a classic wrestling Twitter cliche, not just Twitter, but we're just kind of gonna have to wait and see.
We really will.
And it's like, yeah, it's that's my biggest takeaway, because I've had 100 different thoughts about it, right? From my initial reaction to thinking about it more, to looking into more of it, and learning the headlines from you in real time, and discussing with everybody else here at Wrestling Republic, kind of behind the scenes, the meaning behind it. There are so many things that are at play here. Not just the future of creative, not just the future from a business standpoint. Anything can happen. And I think it's just jarring, because we had already had a year that was jarring as a fan, right?
Yeah.
We had already had a year that was jarring with headlines. We had a Ric Flair match. We had Vince step down. We had Vince wrestle a match. We had Stone Cold wrestle a match. We had all these things we've mentioned, all the awards we did at the end of the year, all those things that we thought, well, you probably expect a little bit tamer year in 2023 than 2023 or 2022. It's been 2 weeks, and tame is not exactly how I would describe this year as far as headlines. It's just not. It's not been the case.
It's almost as crazy as last year.
It's already, yeah. I'm like, it's on pace to surpass them, right? At least they gave us like a month before things got wild last year. But I mean, yeah, to me, more than anything, I just think it's fascinating. The whole thing is going to be fascinating. And when we get more answers, it's going to be more interesting again too. So it's one of those stories that this isn't just an overnight big viral story. This is one of those things that we're going to be talking about for a couple months. This isn't the one time we'll be talking about this. This is,
it could be for the next 6 to 12 months, honestly.
Maybe more than a couple, just, but either way, like, it's mind blowing. It really is. The whole thing
is, and it's gonna be an interesting thing to cover over the next few months. But I mean, I truly, the big concern I think a lot of fans have is whether or not Vince will return as head of creative. As I'm gonna be honest here, like the likelihood is, whoever comes in there, not the likelihood is, it's almost certain that whoever comes in, they're not gonna touch creative. But the only thing which they might do is put Vince McMahon back at the helm of creative. So honestly, I mean, from like a perspective of the actual product, for example, if the Saudi investment fund were the ones to buy it, I mean, there's tons of people who could buy it. You'd probably see, based on other investments they had, higher paying contracts. You'd probably see a higher production value. Quite frankly, as far as the on-screen product goes, unless Vince returns to the booking, it would probably be an improved product. Which is something which I don't think a lot of people are talking about. As one way of looking at it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of other perspectives and reasons people have. One person we're about to bring on stream right now is the host of Take It to the Table.
My regular Tuesday cohort, by the way, or Wednesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. My regular Wednesday, Chaos.
Yep. He's your Chaos. How are you, Chaos?
After evening, gentlemen. Sorry about the timing, black people timing, and all that kind of stuff. You know
no
how it
worries,
is.
You're good.
But I had to throw that little zinger in there. But
You're good.
That's good. Yeah. What a crazy 24 hours might I say, gentlemen. It's been crazy. So I've been listening to obviously what your thoughts on what's been going on with this whole with Miss Vince McMahon and all that kind of stuff, and it's one of those situations that hits you in waves. Like you think you've adjusted to it, and then it just hits you again. You're just like, wow, this stuff is really happening, kind of thing. Can't wait to obviously get more into it. Not sure what you want me to say or not say.
Honestly, that's such a good point, dude, because I had the same reaction. It's like there's like a new question in my own head, like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, well, why this and why that? And like we have been speculating on the list of potential buyers for the last week, given
And
the
completely
knowledge.
ruled out the one that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
ruled out the one that's now the one that's on high on the list, and it's just a fascinating situation, you know. And it affects everybody, right, across the board in its own way. This is not the last major headline we're getting out of this particular story, right? There's more to come.
The worst thing about it, at the end of the day, Vince McMahon won. This guy is just like a cockroach that won't die. Like for all the trials and tribulations he's had, not just from what happened last year, but you're talking about the steroid trial. You're talking about like the signature pharmacy stuff, the stuff with redacted, if you know what I mean.
Vice just did the 9 lives, right? Like they just did that.
Just like this,
and he's got a 10th.
Yeah,
exactly. At the end of the day, this guy actually won. Got somehow crawled his way into pretty much almost the same position that he was originally.
Yeah.
And ousted his family as well. On top of that,
we don't know. We don't know
we don't know the official reason for Stephanie's resignation, but you can speculate that adds up. I think there's 2 scenarios at play, right? Chaos.
Everybody involved is saying that it was her decision. Now it's whether or not basically the one thing which Dave Meltzer speculated last night is that she might have not wanted to be the defining vote on whether or not he'd be able to come back. So she resigned, and then so that was what Dave Meltzer was speculating last night. But yeah, we don't know what it is.
Fair enough.
Maybe she had a moral issue with something. Who knows?
Yeah, there are a lot of factors that play there. Now, what we can talk about, though, is it does seem oddly telling, the timing, the step down, the news, all of that.
Coincidence.
Yes, that ain't,
I think not.
That we can say, and it the timing, interesting, to say the least.
I mean, it's
it'll make you think, just a little. You know,
on one perspective, you can say that perhaps she really does. Perhaps she really does think that it's now just time. It's maybe she really did, because we don't actually know what's going on in her personal life.
She's a
right?
mother.
We will never know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're smart,
because something happened in her personal life 8 months ago, right? And we still don't know what it was, which is why she wanted to step away. There was rumors that Vince pushed her out at the time, but Dave Meltzer on Observer last night confirmed that was not the case. She really did want to leave because of a personal reason. We don't know what that personal reason is. Now maybe everything's back running. Maybe she's in the situation now where so many people are involved now. Vince is back as well. She's just like, well, there's so many people doing the same stuff here. I'm not really needed anymore. So I'm going to, jump out for a bit. Maybe that was her perspective on the matter. And yeah, I mean, the truth is we won't, like you said, we won't know for the time being. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys, right? I'm specifically Clark first, because I know you're a big golfing guy.
Yep.
Of course, the Saudi Arabia Investment Fund own LIV golfing, right?
Live Golf, yeah. Live
Golf,
is what they call them. It's kind of like DAZN, where it's like, it's not spelled the same as but it's
yeah. And what I wanted to ask you about that is, of course, they were bought by the Saudi Arabia Investment Fund.
Right?
They can't get a TV deal.
They have had big struggles, especially given the star power that they brought over. I assumed TV deal was up next, and I watched the first event, and they got a few big names for that one, right? Phil Mickelson had signed by then. I believe Dustin Johnson, who was a top 5 in the world at the time, had signed by then, and a few others. They played that first big tournament in England, and they live streamed it on Facebook and YouTube. They did. They hired away, I believe, Steve Sands from the Golf Channel and the /NBC. They got David Feherty was their big splash in the commentary regard. They ended up throughout the season. They got Brooks Koepka, former world number 1. They got Cam Smith, fresh off of his number 1 ranking ascension, as well as British Open victory. They did sign massive names to massive contracts, and the guaranteed money, it makes a lot of sense in golf. Now, the rumor is that they're looking to lock down a TV deal, expand the schedule for next season. From what I know, they have not definitively locked down one for their tournaments, but the rumors are that they are in the process of getting one. But at the same time, it has been a bit of a detriment reputationally for them, I think if you were to put the roster on almost any other investor that they've acquired as far as star power in golf between, all those names I mentioned, then Ian Poulter, Patrick Reed, Bryson DeChambeau, huge guys that would have been paid out in the PIP fund on the PGA Tour, which is that's for the most social media engagement. I mean, a number of the top 10 that would have gotten that bonus on the PGA Tour left for LIV for the guaranteed money, which, it's very interesting. I think it will have a lesser effect on the WWE because of the fact that they're not splitting the already known entity. It's not as if it would not be as the same as if the investment fund started their own promotion and started taking away WWE wrestlers or superstars the way that it kind of happened with the PGA Tour. And I think that's why there was some headbutting, some pushback, because of the aggressive nature of you're just like hand picking stars away from the PGA Tour is supposed to be the American League or whatever, and it's actually a non-profit. Whereas the European Tour, which used to be in the same situation, is now the DP World Tour. They're owned by DP and they're run like that. And so the purses have actually gotten better there. I think the dynamic of guys just going for the guaranteed money and the picking across, and then the PGA Tour putting their foot down and saying, well, if you sign with LIV, you can't play our events.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with why the TV stuff has run into trouble, why there's been so much public pushback in some spots on the LIV stuff. At the end of the day, though, the similarity on the TV deal aspect, I see it for sure. And that's a difficult road to navigate. But at the same time, that's where Vince McMahon has a history of garnering TV deals. And so if you pair that type of acumen with the financial backing, then, maybe they don't run into the same problem that LIV had. And even despite that, LIV has kind of overcome it in a sense, and they're as big as they've ever been. And the perception is slowly but surely changing as more and more golf fans watch the product, because it is presented as more fun than the PGA Tour, right? They play less holes. They all tee off at the same time. The coverage is only 4 hours as opposed to 8. There's more celebrity involvement. It's an interesting, and then there's the team aspect. While it's still an individual tournament for golf, there's the team aspect. And I think that has those type of innovations have really helped LIV in a way that I don't necessarily think would be a factor in professional wrestling, given a similar scenario. But I do find the TV deal aspect of it as kind of the kicker. That is the interesting part.
Because the TV deals are up, and if they were to, get a deal with Comcast, it would be obvious that they'd be, going to, presumably the USA Network, and if they went to Disney, they'd presumably go into Fox.
Or even ESPN, by the way.
Oh yeah, even ESPN. I mean, I think ESPN have some issues with doing a wrestling program, but I mean, who knows? But there's a lot of possible options. A lot of the people who are interested in buying, they would come with basically with a TV deal, because they own networks, whereas the Saudi investment fund do not own an American network, so they'd be in a really sticky situation there where they'd have to try and get a new deal, and again, it might be difficult, waters to navigate there. But Jack Island's asking, and this is a question for you, Clark, because I have no idea what the situation even is. Are we going to see a similar PGA Tour versus LIV scenario?
So that's a great question, Jack. But the answer is I actually don't think so. Other than maybe we'd see a slight turnover.
What is the scenario?
Well, the scenario is the PGA Tour put their foot down and basically said, if you sign with LIV, you can't play our events. And a lot of guys initially, when LIV started to there were whispers about the start of the league and whatnot. The thought process was, well, there's only 10 events in LIV, right? And there's 40 on the PGA Tour. So, or more than that, actually, I think it's almost 50. But events wise, the thought process would be, well, you go take the guaranteed money, play the 8 LIV events. You can still get in your 22 PGA Tour events to make money and keep status. And then you get the double win, right? You get Both. PGA Tour said, no. If you sign with Liv, you can't play for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, that's already kind of the case in wrestling. You have to be exclusive.
A little bit. It's like the forbidden door scenario.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it's unique with golf, right? And you'll laugh actually when it first started coming up with my golf buddies. I explained, I'm like, no, we've seen this in wrestling for years, guys. This is normal. It's just a new territory coming in the space. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But like what I would say is, I mean, the closest thing we could see to that would be the AEW WWE thing. And if we're going to continue to see roster turnover as we've seen the last 4 years anyway, with two legitimate players that can pay guys. And even if contracts are going to go up or whatever, we'll still see that. And so my answer to that question would be the scenario isn't identical, but we're already seeing it in a sense, right? Every time we see a big name show up on the other show, we're already seeing that sort of PGA Tour Liv dynamic, right? When the news drops that a big name in golf signs with Liv, that's a big deal, right? It isn't going the other way in golf per se, because we haven't seen somebody sign with Liv and then find a way to go back to we don't have a way to go back, but like at this point, I think the closest thing we're seeing to that is essentially AEW and WWE roster turnover as we see now, combined with the New Japan Forbidden Door type of scenarios where you see a Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks show up there, things like that. We already see that in a sense in wrestling to an extent. I get that. And I mean, I don't think that's gonna stop, even if the contracts in WWE are a lot more. I think there's still some people. I mean, people get released anyway. I think they'll still keep that going, honestly. But Jack Ireland's asking here: is the purchase of WWE by the Saudi Arabia investment fund just to further the progression into? Ooh. That one's so political. I mean,
that
would be the assumption.
We're not
I'll say this. That's been a long narrative on Saudi investment fund investments, but that's also not what I'm going to touch right this second.
I mean, you know me, I'm no holds barred, but I'll leave that.
I'm like, that's the long time narrative. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we don't know, I mean, there's a lot of WWE fans in Saudi Arabia. We do know that their events sell very well, and I know quite a few of our followers are actually from Saudi Arabia. I think like 5% of our following on Instagram from Saudi Arabia. So there's a lot of wrestling fans there, a lot of interest over there for sure,
which is awesome. And to bring wrestling, you can see in those crowds at Crown Jewel and stuff, like the excitement and
they love it, and
getting that culturally too. It's a big deal, and I have nothing negative to say about that in the least.
Oh, absolutely not.
I think that's amazing, and love our Saudi Arabian followers, by the way.
Oh yeah, no,
absolutely. Monster shout out.
But
definitely.
The one thing, right, a lot of people on Twitter, Instagram are saying, if this deal goes through, I'm stopping watching WWE. I'm gonna put out this, right. If Vince McMahon isn't back in charge of creative, right? If Vince McMahon doesn't come back as the head of creative and Triple H stays and basically the product continues as it is, however, with one change, and that one change is there's a higher, wrestlers are getting paid more and there's going to be higher investment in production value. Now, if that was the case, the question is, if basically the product is like it is now, but with better production, looks better, all of that, would fans really stop watching it?
No. I think the worrying point is definitely if Vince takes over creative, and they love Vince over there, so that's what everyone's worried about. If it's like if it all comes together and he's back at the helm, then they're gonna lose. That would for me that would instantly sour my anticipation for Mania. I mean, I'll still enjoy it. It will sour my anticipation for it. Just because I know, and even that might change my mind about going to Money in the Bank. That's just because it's just a double downer.
No, I get that. I mean, a lot of us had a lot of criticisms about Vince McMahon's booking in recent years. In fact, it just wasn't very good, basically. It wasn't. No. And the product improved significantly since Vince has returned. Not Vince has returned. Triple H has, since Triple H, no, definitely not since has returned. Since Triple H took over creative. But people are saying that regardless. They're saying, well, I'm watching regardless. I'm never watching it again. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. I believe if the product is just as good and there's higher investment into the production of it, I believe that you'll be watching more than ever. I believe that it'll actually be, in terms of viewership, maybe it'll increase. I really think that people are talking this big game now. They said it about the events in Saudi Arabia, and look at the success of the ones in recent years. They've been doing huge numbers on the network internationally and on Peacock in the US. I mean, we don't actually see all the Peacock numbers, but we see the network numbers. They've been doing huge figures there, and they've even been boasting about them. But what do you think, Clark?
Well, one thing that I would just even add to that is I think it's funny, as like hardcore wrestling fans, as we all are too at heart, right? At the end of the day, as much as we are in this media space and doing this for Wrestling Republic, we all grew up big fans. I think the scariest part is the creative aspect, like Chaos said, with the Vince McMahon thing. And it's like, that is going to be the last domino to fall in all of these dominoes. But it's so funny because I did the exact same thing, Chaos, right? First thing I read, I skipped to the last domino. I'm like, well, who's in charge of creative?
I know, right? That's it.
Like, I went straight past all 20 dominoes between there, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, who's booking? I want to know now. Like, tell me. I have to know.
Facts.
And so I do think that's the scariest part. Is like, yeah, it's like they took away our new shiny toy, Triple H in charge of creative in the future, guaranteed, right? Where it's like, oh, he's got the long-term job security type scenario, like not that his job's in jeopardy, but he's gonna be there for a long time. And then they gave us a bucket of Legos with no instructions.
One thing
we could build some sweet out of the Legos. Who knows?
Yeah,
we also might step on them along the way, hurt our toes and stuff. Like, it's a muddy situation.
No, it truly is. But one thing which is really important to note on that situation is WWE have been sent a lot of messages and that from both investors, shareholders, and also journalists about is Triple H remaining in charge. To all of them, they're copy and pasting the same statement saying that he is staying in charge and that Vince is not involved. And
which is hugely helpful.
The fact that they keep on sending that means they know that people are worried about it. They know that that's a concern. Yes, okay, if there was, if the company was to go private, there wouldn't be any shareholders anymore. So that's half of the issue gone. But it's still, I still don't think that anybody would be stupid enough to do it. And in fact,
but to your point, Ben, deep breath, guys. You heard that, right? Triple H is still in charge. We're good.
Yeah.
For now,
and
we're fine.
To be fair, like, do you really, like, he's all about money. Vince is all about money and all that. Do you really? I'm trying to obviously be in the finances of positivity about this in terms of, like, he sees that the business is booming since he left. The Royal Rumble has done record-setting numbers. It would have never done that if Vince was still at the helm. Would he actually, just because whether he has an itch for it or not, would he actually try and jeopardize that situation to put himself in head of creative when the numbers prove that the show's better without him? Surely by now he's tired, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually gonna. I don't know if that specifically, if I'm gonna be honest, is gonna actually impact his decision. But what I think will impact his decision is the number which was reported in the now false reports last night, which were reliable, was 5 billion. And from that, Vince would have gotten, if you work it out based on his market share, he would have got over 3 billion. Do you really think Vince with 3 billion in his pocket? Yeah, he'd be you have 3 billion. Do you really, and actual, money as well, right? In proper money. Do you really reckon he's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back and book wrestling now? I don't. I think he's going to retire, and I think he's going to retire with his head held high. He walked out the winner. He did what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's enough for his ego. I really do think he's going to be out.
Yeah.
It's almost like a business swan song. That actually makes a ton of sense, Ben.
That's another thing. He lied. He lied. That's how you know as well. He lied saying, "Oh, I'm 77 or whatever he was. I'm retiring." The guy didn't take. He just took a 6-month sabbatical, came back, and then he just wants to get one more couple bucks.
He did think that. He was. Right. They did. I don't think anybody thought at first that he was coming back. I think he's after a few months. He, apparently thought that he took bad advice when they told him to, he had to leave. In the interest of the company, he wanted to come back and get the sale done so he can walk out with his head high and his legacy finishes off as he sold WWE for a huge sum of money. But it's gonna be interesting now to see how that all develops. But we've got 10 minutes left of the show, and we're going to talk about what Clark is doing tonight. He is going to AEW Dynamite.
Lucky bastard. Sorry.
There's a lot of rumors about today's show. Of course, we got Jon Moxley versus Hangman Page. That is going to be, whoo. We've also got Bryan Danielson versus Konosuke Takeshita, which again is also going to be
off the charts.
And we got Jack Perry and Huck versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. That could be a decent match.
Jungle Hook.
Yep.
Like my favorite movie as a kid, The Jungle Book. It's Jungle Hook.
And of course, we got the final and the best of 7 series between Death Triangle and the Elite is going to be a ladder match, or as they're calling it. Let me quickly just get it up. Escalara de la Muerte.
Escalara de la Muerte.
Okay, nice.
Ladder of Death.
Come on, man.
Ladder of Death. It's the Ladder of Death in English. Yeah, man. And I'm particularly excited about that one, not to cut you off, Ben, but I was at the Bucks and Lucha Bros cage match in 21.
I hate you.
In Chicago.
I knew you know I never liked you. That's oh man,
and it's one of my favorite matches I've ever seen live.
Great
I'm not gonna lie.
Ignacio doesn't like it though.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that for sure. I've heard that take. I can kind of understand that. I will say this. It was for my 30th birthday that I went. When I was sitting there and when Phoenix climbed to the top of that cage, first of all, I've seen live WWE cage matches, and this is no knock on WWE. That cage is tall. Whatever the freaking cage they stuffed in the Now Arena in Chicago that night was tall as it was so tall. And looking up, I was sitting down kind of low. Thank you, Mom. Exactly. It was awesome. Phoenix standing on the top of that cage was one of the only times I've ever watching live wrestling been nervous for a person. I go, holy hell, how are they going to catch him? Like, I mean, not even, I stopped thinking about, forget suspending disbelief. I didn't have to. It was like, when you're that high above the ring and looking up from where I was sitting at the time, now they're going to strap 3 belts up above, and it's going to be ladders, and you add Kenny Omega and Pac to the mix. Less than 2 years later, come on, man. I am a kid in a candy store about that one tonight. And then the rest of the card is stacked.
Yeah, it's so
and it's
stacked.
In LA. I've seen 2 live AEW shows, both in Chicago, both all out. Well, and then Rampage as well. Both years.
So just to say, the WWE steel cage is 15 feet. AEW is 120.
Okay, so it's 5 feet taller.
Yeah.
Because honestly, when I looked up and Phoenix was standing on top of that thing, man, I got that like weird panics where you're like,
yeah,
I'm not sure after this jump he's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
like that is really up there, and especially because
Shoes
obviously
off.
I'm 5 feet lower, even because of the apron. So right, think about that too, right? Where I was kind of sitting down, I was sitting down by the entrance ramp, but over on the aisle, but looking straight up at the corner. I was like, that is. I'm not afraid of heights, but that would make me nervous.
Yeah,
just
no,
walking around up there.
But remember, Cody Rhodes actually did a moonsault off the top of that thing. So
he did do a moonsault.
It's just crazy, man. So yeah,
and the shoe spot in that match was crazy as well.
Oh yeah,
with the thumbtack Jordan, it was excellent. It was excellent.
Yeah, no, it was great. And Melissa now is joining the chat. A bit late. You can watch on demand later. Don't worry.
No worries.
All those are on demand. But yeah, no, it was a really, really. It's going to be a really good show tonight. That was a really good match. But the one thing which I want to talk about is Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker versus Saraya and Toni Storm. Everybody thought it was going to be Mercedes Moné and Saraya, but then they did the swerve last week. However, of course, Britt Baker making that little comment last week.
Exactly.
The boss.
I tried to wink and I just completely failed. That might have just been the
fun. I got the wink. The boss. Great. Now I just look like I'm blinking weird. Trust me, guys, I'm okay.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, do you guys think we're going to see Mercedes Moné today?
It's so on the nose. And like, especially with AEW, like, I know I'm a bit of a hypocrite because with WWE, when they tease stuff, sorry about the noise. When they tease stuff, it's right really in your face. Like they're not as bad as it was before. When Vince was in the helm, they was really in your face with the teasers. With AEW, they make it very blatant as well. It's just as bad. Like when they teased CM Punk with the first dance thing, Darby Allin came with the next promo saying like, "I'm going to see who's the best in the world." I mean, like for flip's sake, it was the worst kept secret. Now with this one, with the boss thing, it just pretty much ruined it. And to be fair, I'm good. At least it is someone that we know, because if it wasn't Monet, then it would have been a dud. It's obviously a red herring. And another proof of it was the weird promo that they had last week as well. So yeah,
how are
it has to be
get
Monet.
Tony Storm out of the match?
I've got the way they do it.
Oh, okay.
I've got the idea. I thought of it like shortly after it happened, and I go, "Oh wait, no, this is actually kind of cool." Did you see the look on Sheeta's face?
Oh, I knew you. Oh
yeah, Sheeta's couldn't heal.
So Sheeta attacks Tony Storm and takes her out of the match.
Oh yeah.
And they must find a replacement. Sheeta's got to leave the building, though. I really hope they tie up that loose end. I've seen in the past where they do something like this.
Yeah.
In any company, right? And it's a very bookable scenario where this is what needs to happen is Sheeta. I'm not saying a kidnapping angle. That's a bit extreme. But at least Sheeta needs to leave the building. Because she would be the next choice if it's like, okay, well, now it's you, right? The way that they did the choice thing. But no, she needs to beat Tony Storm up and then leave.
Or it
and
might
you
be
see her leave, and it's like, who do we? And she's going to go out for a handicap match, and then boom, you play the music. That pop in LA for Mercedes, Snoop Dogg's niece. Remember, she is a Boston girl, but where's Snoop from? Right? Think about that. That's basically a hometown crowd. Everyone knows that connection. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the question really is she going to come out with her New Japan theme? Please, no. Please. Tony Khan, I'm looking at you right now. Please get her a new theme.
It's got to be a Snoop theme. It's got to be a Snoop theme. Am I wrong? It's got Snoop.
Well, yeah, AEW. Snoop Dogg is AEW in it after that match that you had.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snoop's got to have some up his sleeve. It's LA.
Regarding Sheeta, the most likely, obviously, Tony Storm is going to get attacked before the match. My guess is it probably do that similar thing where like they trying to wonder who it is, and then they find out it was Sheeta on security camera, and then like it's all pixelated, and they define it, and it's her, and then that's when she turns heel. I think that's what they're going to try and do.
Oh, to be honest, I really like that too, because then what you could do is also have you could have basically Saraya like searching the arena for Sheeta, being like, oh my gosh, I need the backup.
Yeah.
And it finds her in the parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you realize Triple H is all elite. No.
Even better. But, I love the fantasy booking. It's fun.
But yeah, I mean, I can see them doing exactly what you guys said. It is a very NXT storyline, but it would work. It'd be fantastic. Yeah. And then to have Mercedes Moné, the swerve, because it was so obvious it was going to be her. The way they've done it now, I'm really happy they've done it this way. At first, I was pissed. In fact, I even said it on the show. Then I was like, come on, you can't hype it up for 2 weeks and it be Tony Storm, right?
Exactly. No disrespect to Tony, but I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, no, it was just... It just wasn't the surprise we were expecting. But if they really do pull this off tonight, the way that we've speculated, it would be absolutely exceptional, and she'd be a huge get for AEW. I mean, I'm shocked if she does go AEW, because I really didn't.
I think it'll be a one-off.
Oh, okay.
I think it'll be just a one-off, like, because I don't think she wants to do full-time. She wants to focus on Stardom, New Japan. And them flights ain't short. So
the only thing is there not so much money to be made on? Remember, Sasha Banks is the one that injured Saraya, injured Paige at the house show with the drop kick to the back. Is there not money to be made on them teaming once and then Sasha turning on Saraya, and that's maybe the first match she works back, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think. I think that'll be. I think that'll be Revolution if they do it. But I mean, actually, I'm not sure if she'll be back from Japan in time for that. Well, I think it'll be, at a later date. I do agree. If perhaps 2 matches, then could be what will happen, and that would make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that's money right there. Money.
Money.
Please, can we just get that theme?
Yeah,
and
new,
put it in
we
a
gotta get a
bin.
new theme.
Agreed.
Snoop verse,
Agreed.
a Snoop verse on the theme might be enough for me. I could
No.
get
The money. The way it's said, it just annoys me. I don't know what it is.
It's
Something about
too,
it. Just,
it's too repetitive. It's a little cringy. I'm totally with you.
It's something that
Wait,
Carmelo would
yeah,
have. That's
what
what.
it
I'm
is.
sorry.
It
sounds
is.
like a
It's
Carmelo thing.
Carmelo. It's the Boston influence.
Yeah.
It's the Boston thing.
I hated it. I still hate it. Every time oh my gosh. But anyway, guys, I mean, it's been an absolute banger of a show tonight. Now we got to get off because Clark needs to get Dynamite.
I gotta get
He's
dressed
like
to go to
better.
Dynamite. It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, you're gonna have some stuff on the Instagram story, right?
Yeah. I'll be on the Instagram story.
Try and get the crowd reaction.
I will be getting the crowd reaction. I'll be posting during Dynamite, and I will be shutting off during Rampage because we at Wrestling Republic do not do spoilers.
No, we absolutely do not.
I'm not even gonna say a word.
I'm uninstalling my Instagram till the morning, so yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow's show too. I'm not saying a word about what happened on Rampage, so don't think that's happening.
I mean, we don't walk out. I'd say you'll have to wait till Saturday, but we don't talk about Rampage anyway because nobody watched it. No, I'm joking. That was just a low blow to Soul. If he's watching,
it was.
But yeah, we'll be back. Well, actually, I'm not going to be on the show tomorrow night. It's going to be a Clark and Anthony special.
Special edition, later
Ooh.
Start time. It should be about 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Me and Anthony will be breaking down.
I believe that's 11 UK GMT. 11 PM GMT.
Also,
Dynamite and everything else.
Quick plug as well. Latest episode of Take It to the Table has just been released on the Wrestling Republic channel. We also been talking also still about the deal, as well as a little CM Punk scenario, and a certain person on this panel was also on a certain Money in the Bank video package. So we're going to obviously
sir. Yeah, no, we know who that person was. Chaos.
I still have it. Do I still have it? Oh, I don't.
Oh, either way, go check out Take It to the Table. That's important.
Yes, please do.
Oh no, I do have it. Here it is.
There it is. Look at that beautiful face.
That's our good friend. In the Money in the Bank promo video. How about that?
And both me and Soul were also at that event, and they didn't pick us up. So Chaos is now claiming to be the MVP of Wrestling Republic, just like Soul does. So, but anyway, guys, great episode today. And tomorrow we'll be back again. Latest start time, like Clark said. But thank you everybody for watching. I'll be back on Friday. See you guys.
Peace.